Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened, as I said it would. People will be... Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I hope you are all doing well this evening. I know normally we do this straight after the game. However, it's so transpired that I wanted to do the... what am I doing with my camera here? I'm trying to make it a little bit more centre, but yeah, I'm all over the shop, aren't I? Not surprised being sat in this chair since bloody 11:30 this morning. But look, Leeds United drew away at Huddersfield Town. It wasn't for the faint-hearted. They kicked lumps out of us for 45 minutes. We didn't stand up to that test, unfortunately, and couldn't get going really in the second half. Yes, we had a lot of possession, but did nothing with it. No one performed well. Really, if we're being totally honest, I thought Meslier pulled off some saves. There are some, though, that blame him for their goal. But yeah, I thought outside of Meslier with his couple of good saves, there wasn't really much to shout about. Huddersfield just kicked lumps out of us, and I'd have liked an equaliser. I know it sounds archaic, but I'd like someone to go and just start kicking them for a little bit. I mean, Jonathan Hogg was shocking. He could have easily gone for the first challenge. He went for the second, an elbow, deliberate elbow on Firpo. There was also Pearson where he dragged his studs down the back of Somerville's legs. But look, let's not blame the referee, although he is at fault for a lot. Huddersfield did what they needed to do in order to win the game of football, and we dropped to their level, ultimately. We said, yeah, okay, we're willing to play how you want to play. Maybe could have tried to keep the ball more, but even when we did to do that in the second half, we still didn't create enough. So it was just one of them days. I'm just grateful that we came away with a point, because maybe earlier on in the season we lose that. Just so happens, Leicester have dropped points as well. They've been beaten by QPR. That's a great result for us. Yes, Ipswich have won. Yes, Southampton are winning 4-3 and they're about to win, okay? But ultimately, we've gained a point on Leicester. That draws them in closer. That means there's more chance. And when you look at the fixtures, I know down the bottom they're all getting wins, but when you look at the fixtures, we have the favourable running. There are going to be many twists and turns yet. Just because we dropped a point away at Yorkshire Derby, which is their cup final, new manager bounce, etc., I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Do you know what I mean? And that's the first time I've ever got that saying right. So that's very, very good. Pat on the back to me. But yeah, look. I think one thing I will say, I think Gray should have gone in midfield when the sub was made. I think he should have gone into midfield, Roberts at right back. Because I think Gruyev lacks that incision, that, getting us up the pitch quick. And I don't, look, Pirro's pissing me off, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know what he does. It's quite frustrating as a fan watching Pirro. But I think Gray probably should have moved into midfield. But we don't know how leggy Gray is. It may have been, look, Gray played midweek in midfield. He kept him on last game and played him at left back and all that sort of stuff. So, that would be my only gripe. There was people asking for Joseph, but you can't take Bamford off. Bamford was playing well, and he scored a goal. I thought Connor Roberts stuck a claim maybe for starting, and maybe you move Gray into midfield in the next game anyway. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But let's get some folks in now. You've got a bit of a dream team tonight. You've got Joe Blackburn, you've got Evie, and you've got Luke. Thank you all for joining me. Joe, we'll come to you first. Are you all right? I know you're busy working. Are you all right to chat?
I should be. Yep.
Good.
Just about.
How did you see it, mate? Because I know you tend to lean on the positive side. So how did you see it?
The whole positivity thing's having to go into overdrive. I'm trying to find things. The biggest positive that I can find is that today it became we need to be in the top 2 of 4 rather than we need to be in the top 1 of 3. Yeah. Because it's brought Leicester fully back into the conversation, and every single team is going to do this. Every single team is going to drop points, and there's a lot of versions of Leeds United where we lose that game. Yeah, but we didn't. We got the equaliser. We properly came back into things, and yes, we made some mistakes going forwards. But we've seen significantly better players on a pitch for Leeds United lose from those situations. And the fact of the matter is we didn't. We got a point. We're now just 5 behind Leicester. yes, Ipswich have overtaken us, but if you can honestly tell me you don't think Ipswich drop a single point for the rest of the season,
exactly.
good luck to you. Put some money on that, and we'll watch you be broke in a few weeks, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Like, the mad thing is, out of the top four today, you know, two of us have dropped points, and that were the team that were in first and second. So there are going to be many more twists and turns. Evie, I'm interested to see how you've seen it, because I know earlier on in the season you were frustrated that we're not picking up points against teams like this. Do you still feel like that today, or do you think, look, it was just one of them days? Because I have to have a bit of sympathy with the team a little bit. It might sound like counterproductive, but they were kicked the shit out of in that first half, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't feel as judgmental as I did earlier on in the season, because obviously we have just gone on our, best winning streak for 90 years. So you can't crucify them too much for that. I think Dan James should have been brought on sooner.
Yeah.
I think Somerville
Do you know
should
what?
have been brought off.
Eve, sorry, just to jump in on that. When we did bring James on, we fucking didn't give him the ball.
Yeah, I know. It was the language that was coming out of my mouth. I was screaming at the TV because of the fact, why, when you've got an incredibly pacey, we've got to utilize the best out of our players, and Dan James, it works best against tired legs. And he's so quick that he can evade tackles, or he can see them because of the fact that he's running so fast and he knows what's going to happen next, because everybody has to hack him down because he's so fast. So utilize that, earn fouls, move yourself up the pitch, and take throw-ins quicker. There was no sense of urgency in that game whatsoever. It was so frustrating. And I was battling against myself, thinking, don't have a go at them, because of the fact that, they've had 3 games in like 8 days. They played brilliantly, especially in the Chelsea game, all of this. So there's so much positivity. Anybody as well, just quickly, that's saying about Farker, ruined that game, this, that, and the other, and Farker out and Bamford out, just go away, because Bamford didn't do anything wrong in that game. He got us the equaliser. He was in the right place at the right time, which is where a striker should be in those situations. Nonto should have been brought off probably after about 50-60 minutes. I would have brought Jaden Anthony on to replace Somerville as well. My logic being, Somerville's our player, Anthony isn't. If Huddersfield hack Anthony to pieces, we don't have to deal with it at the end of the season. I know that sounds really cruel, but Somerville, when he's on form, is our best player, really. But when he's not on it, and unfortunately, the greedy side of him, which we all know, love, get angry at, was really out on form today. He was missing clear open net situations and decided to drag it round 2 players where the shot would then get blocked. And he did it time after time after time again. I don't think Gray should have been brought off. I think he should have been moved into midfield. Kamara was not on it today. There wasn't many players that were on it.
I don't think anyone had a good game, Evie.
No, they weren't ridiculously bad. And the only player that I genuinely think had a good game was Meslier. Like, I thought although his distribution was quite poor today, considering I've said recently it's got better. But Roberts should have been on sooner in order to use it. But they just then got ignored. That right wing, and we just carried on going down the left. I would have kept Firpo on and taken Somerville off, and because I thought Firpo played well today, and he was the only one that was willing to cross it into the box from the left, because Somerville just decided to take on 10 players. I'm so angry today. Like, I'm absolutely livid with this game, because it's a game that, to be honest, we didn't even deserve to win. I'm kind of not angry at the draw. I'm angry at the awful standards of refereeing in this country. That game was appalling. How they only went down to 10 men in that game. Like, whatchamacallit, the commentator was saying, Huddersfield have played outstandingly,
valiant
especially with 10. With 10 men. I was like, no, they didn't have 10 men on the pitch. They had 11. 100% had 11 men on the pitch. Just because he wasn't wearing their shirt, they had 11 men on that pitch. It was like he felt guilty for sending their player off, for hacking our player down, that he then gave every decision to them in the second half. It was
Yeah.
abysmal refereeing, and we've had some absolute stinkers this season. But for me, that was the worst, because that could have ended. Some of those tackles could be, career-ending
Yeah, they were
injuries.
bad,
The way that they were going in.
Yeah.
So sorry for ranting, but I just feel like it's a big emotional release for this today, because it's just been shocking.
That's what you're here for, man. Big up. Thank you for that. Luke, do you know what really frustrated me in the second half? Dan James came on, as Evie mentioned. We just didn't give him the ball, even though he kept finding space. Do you know what it felt like? And it sounds like I'm being maybe a little bit overdramatic, but it felt like Jesse when we used to give the ball to Nonto all the time, Nonto FC. It almost felt just give it Somerville and hopefully he'll do something. But any time he picked up the ball, there was 2, if not 3 men on him, and it was like, look, we need to try something different. But they just kept funneling it. Put my teeth in. Funneling the ball to Somerville, and he were doing naught with it. I mean, he did hit the post at one point, didn't he? But it was just the same over, and it was a bit like Groundhog Day.
It was, mate. I'll go back even further than that. Very reminiscent of the game we played against Wigan when we got beat with 10 men, when they had 10 men, and it felt very much like, we had all the ball. And it's really, really easy in hindsight to sit here and say, look, we should have brought this player on early. We should have done this. We should have that. And it is that's what. Otherwise, if it wasn't easy to do, we wouldn't all be making content on the internet. But it's for me. I mean, you can look at it 2 ways, really. I don't think we played overly badly. I don't think we were great, but I think we certainly played to their script. Huddersfield Town certainly had an ideology of how they were going to play that game today from the first minute, and we cut them open twice in the first 5 minutes, and it could have been 1 or 2-0 within a few moments. I think the most frustrating thing for me was that we still tried to play that same way all the way through. We didn't change it up. We knew that they were going to try and hold manners and rough us up a bit, and rather than trying to play our normal game plan, we almost got drawn into their style, which was the most frustrating thing, I think, for me. Look, they had a big lad up front. They were just humping it up. They didn't really want to play it out from the back. We should have recognised that. There was no need to press them. We should have sat back a little bit more than we should have done in potentially other games as well. In terms of the actual game itself, it was always going to be a potential banana skin. It's their cup final. I've seen tweets about how Leeds are their big. We think Huddersfield are their biggest rivals. People just try to wind you up. They're celebrating that 1 point like they've won today. And that just shows the importance of that fixture. I suppose if that was a mid-season game, they would probably still be celebrating in that same way with 1 point. However, because of where we are in the league, we probably feel a little bit more like it's potentially a loss. So it's a reaction. It's where do we go from here? Reaction. We've had a 2-game blip now where we've not won in 2, and that's including the Chelsea game. And look, we had a 2-game blip over Christmas and then went on the best run in history. So I have every faith in Farke. I don't think Farke did much wrong today. In honesty, no. I don't think he did. But ultimately, the players have to be accountable, because they were quite happy to play to that same script and try and go man for man with Huddersfield, who were quite happy just to beat us up for 90 minutes, really.
Yeah, that's the thing, innit? We did lack someone with a bit of bite, a little bit of experience to say, do you know what, you're getting it back, because sometimes you need to do that. On another day, that referee's not in Hogg's eye line, and he misses that. Do you know what I mean? And that's the kind of player that Hogg is. And I'm not saying I want someone doing that, but I mean, he's horrible, isn't he? What a horrible, horrible man. But, he'll probably get him pats on the backs with them getting a result. Do you know what I mean? They'll probably buzz him with him. So, I don't know. Joe, what did you make to all the fouls and that, mate? Because it was a joke. Apparently some Huddersfield fans think he was on our side, the referee. I was like, are you having a laugh? Like, even the Pearson one on Somerville, right? The stamp basically on his calf. He's not making an attempt for the ball. He's literally just saying, right, I'm going to put you in the bin. So I don't understand why he wasn't given something harsher than that, personally.
Yeah, I think what we're not very good at is we are a team that is really well drilled in what we do. We are good at keeping the ball, creating chances against relatively open teams, at least. So that means that when we need to transition into that more dirty, shithousey stuff, we're not really good at it. So I think the likes of a Klitsch or an Alioski that can just get in their heads in reverse would have been absolutely perfect. But we don't have that at the moment. And whilst that, in terms of the quality of football, isn't the biggest of problems, it's still not the best of signs for when these matches do turn into this, because the same will happen with Millwall. They will get just as kicky because that's what Millwall are.
Yeah.
And there are matches for the rest of the season that will turn into that. And I feel like we're a side that is good at learning from our experiences. So, for example, this one, I think we will learn and go, okay, we can adjust for the next time it turns into this. But for this match, it's 2 points dropped, unfortunately. And it's one of those where if the ref actually gets a handle on it and actually watches the game at times, because stamping on someone's calf, that's not subtle.
No.
That's a definite red card all the time. So if you're actually watching the match, brilliant, that stops sooner. But in the event that that doesn't stop sooner, which is almost inevitable because it's the Championship and the referees are dog shit, we need a sort of backup plan to deal with it in a way.
Yeah, I agree. It was, it was just a joke, wasn't it? It just weren't a great performance. Farke said afterwards it was very quiet in the dressing room. Obviously, they got used to winning, right? And even going to Chelsea would have felt like a success because they played really well and were beaten right at the end with a B team as well, right? So, he said they were very quiet and they treat it like a loss. Do you expect them then to take that on board, like what Joe said, and think, right, Stoke, they beat us earlier in the season, let's right some wrongs and hopefully come out, because the thing is for me, if Somerville scores that chance in the first 5 minutes, we win that game at a canter.
Yeah.
And I think
100%.
missing that chance was the one that really, and then by then they'd kick shit out of us,
Yeah, and that Rutter chance as well, was it just before half time where it just went fractionally too wide? I hope that, Farke seems like a really good manager, so he will allow them to feel a bit sorry for themselves, lick their wounds today, and then he will rile them up ready for next week. And I think it's going to be a similar type game to like the Preston one, when obviously we lost, and then in the reverse home fixture, we beat them. So I think it's going to be a game. I think we'll win. I think that they'll have a message. Farke will use the rest of the results today as kind of ammunition.
Yeah,
and
of course.
that was used for every other team today as well, in and around us. Look, Leeds have dropped points. They're not untouchable. That's their winning streak done. Capitalise on that. And two of the ones, like you said, two of the ones below us have capitalised on that. Southampton are still 3 points clear, and we've got a better goal difference. So that's essentially like almost another point.
Yeah.
So I'm not panicking like I was earlier on in the season, because we've now seen how good we can be. Earlier on in the season, we hadn't seen how good we can be. Whereas now, we've still not been beaten this season in the league. So I've got every faith that we can go on another run. And maybe we just needed to get that blip to kind of prove to the players that you're not untouchable. Things, if teams come and have an agenda against you, so you have to play smarter. You have to preempt the fouls. You have to, avoid them when necessary in order to, don't go looking for them. But if you can gain one at the opportune moment, do that instead. We need a different game plan when it comes to, Somerville obviously still isn't 100%. Because if he scores that one in the first half, like you said, for me. But I just think that we've got too much, and we've learned too much, like you said, Joe B. The fact that, Farke seems to learn as he's gone along, especially getting into the second half of the season, that we learn from our mistakes and we can capitalise on that. And that's what I think we should do. It has turned into a 4-horse race again for the top two, which, if you're a neutral, makes it incredibly exciting.
Course, yeah.
It gets heart pounding for us, and maybe for all of the wrong reasons at time, but at least we're not out of it. We're not bottle job. People were saying like, oh, we're bottling it, it's now not in our hands anymore.
Crazy.
And it's like, well, come on, there's not that much between third and first. There's 5 points in it now, 2 wins. you know,
Exactly.
and you're above them, you know, so it's fine. You know, there's
Yeah.
still enough games. If there was 5 games to go, yeah, I'd be
definitely.
nervous now.
Yeah.
But there's 11 games to go, you know, so we've got 33 points still left to play for. It's fine. It's okay. We go again. We acknowledge the fact that I honestly don't think that we deserve to win today because
No.
we
But
didn't create enough.
We didn't create out. No. I agree.
My anger comes from the refereeing, not from the actual, you know, we got what we deserved today. They came with a game plan. They executed that game plan perfectly.
Set piece again, man. We always concede from set pieces as well.
And that was a really, it's where Nonto annoys me because he lets his petulance win out. And that was a petulant challenge by Nonto that gave away that free kick that then, you know, and I felt sorry for Melier because as well, he actually saved the initial and then it was obviously just a tap in for them. So yeah, I felt bad for them with that. But I don't think we need to lose our heads, but we do need to just gain a bit of composure back and
100%.
say, right, you know, we've had our slip now. We also now don't have that pressure, that weight of breaking a record on our head, you know, like that 9 game, it's done, you know, move on.
Yeah.
Let's win the next one. Let's start the next record. We could still get a 10-game winning record. It's still
100%.
there. We could still do it, but we don't have it on our shoulders anymore. And I think everybody just needs to take a breath, go again, acknowledge the fact that they were crap, unfortunately, today, and just come back fighting, you know, with a home Ellen Road crowd, which I think that's the perfect
100%.
place to, you know, rebound and you know, get a lovely win against Stoke.
Yeah, you agree. And listen, they need to learn quick because there'll be something similar coming for them at Sheff Wednesday. Trust me, at Hillsborough, that'll be something similar. So they need to learn quick. Luke, a lot of people seem to get frustrated with the fact that Farke dropped, if you like, or didn't play Mateo Joseph. Now, I just wanted to get your opinion because for me, I think like people need to calm down. Yeah, he scored 2 against Chelsea, but the lad needs time. Let's not be saying, right, Bamford's not working, which he did have a good game for me. You know, he did what he always does. He scored a goal. But it was like straight away then putting it on a, what, is he 20, 21-year-old's head and saying, right, you save us now. And I just think Farke's not about that. But what did you think? Should he have come on? Should he have started? What's your opinion on Joseph?
I certainly don't think he should have started. I think he had a great game at Chelsea. But look, it's about man management. We've already talked about it briefly. I think to throw him in when the game's in that sort of situation and tell him to rescue you a point, I think you might be doing him more detriment.
Yeah, I agree.
Than positive. So I think look, I mean, we can all sit here. It does my head in. Like we've got a point, right? Again, we look before the Leicester game. After 80 minutes, we thought we'd lost that game, and we'd probably beat Huddersfield. We're sitting with 4 points from the last 2 games now, instead of arguably what could have been 3. That we thought we would have beaten Huddersfield. So I've seen some absolute idiots posting about Farke out and all this. I told you about Farke. We've just been on the best winning streak in
Is people actually saying this?
Years. Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen it online. And
I've not been on, bro. I can't.
Not necessarily just that, but people ripping it and just people's opinions. Now it's almost like they get off. People just get off on negativity. They
100% they do.
And it frustrates me. We've got a point out of a game against a gritty team fighting for survival in the Championship that actually didn't want to play football for 90 minutes at all. Under an old regime, we would have lost that game today. 100%. I think we've got to sit here and take positives. We've got to do. But just going back to Mateo Joseph, no, I think it'd have been unfair to rely on him because whilst he's young, I mean, I know he's a similar age to Nonto and Somerville. They've got the experience. They've been playing, and it's a different ask when he's buzzing coming off a 2 goals against a good Chelsea side. When he's absolutely buzzing to come into an absolute dogfight like that and get chopped up and thrown about, you're asking the wrong questions of him. He's not going to come on and save your game, but give him game time and more. Maybe if we're beating Stoke 3 or 4-0, bring him on for half an hour, 20 minutes. That's the sort of thing he needs. Give him starts in the cup. That's where he is in his career, I feel, anyway. But yeah, I honestly just, I don't know. I mean, I'm already over the fact that we drew today. I've started making my peace very early after a game now, because if I don't, it'll just stress me out, and it will. So yeah, more than happy. I'd move on. I'm already on to thinking about how we line up against Stoke, to be fair.
Yeah, I think, I think the positive thing is we've dropped points, but 5 closer to Leicester. That's the way you look at it, whereas others will see it differently. And I guess it depends if you're half full or half empty, kind of glass thing. But for me, I just see it as, right, okay, that's now properly dragged Leicester back into it. Of course, if we'd have won, fantastic, we'd have been 3 behind them and still in second. But, you can't have it all, can you, ultimately? And you have to come to terms with that. I think to then be then going, right, Farker's blamed for this, Joseph should have played Bamford's pony, Melier can't save. It's all just like, wow, like, relax. Do you know what I mean? Because we've just gone on an unbelievable run that matches the record. So, it's a record for a reason, people, and we've just matched it. So let's not be...
We're still unbeaten in this year in the league.
Exactly,
I mean?
still,
we haven't
bro.
lost a game this year in the
exactly. Exactly. We've had a couple of super chats. William Morrison says, when we play teams that get physical, we seem to fold. We got kicked around the park, probably 2 red cards, sometimes 2 finesse. Take the damn shot. Yeah. What I will say as well, and I don't know what you folks think, when Nonto played that ball into Kamara, he should have hit it. I don't know why he's then laid it on for Somerville and Somerville's missed. Somerville should score. And on another day, you're thinking, what a little pass by Kamara to make sure it goes in. But why don't you just hit it? Like, I don't understand it. Yeah. He's like, touches, and I was like, what are you doing, man?
You never seen Joe. I don't know if his instruction as a midfield player is to, you're not the best shooter in the team, you don't shoot, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? We get it forward to our front 4, and as soon as it gets to them, you shoot. Because even Gruev never shoots. We never see Gruev take shots.
No.
It's almost like those midfielders are told to be everything else but taking shots, no matter where you are on the pitch. It's almost like if he was on the goal line, he'd still try and header it, get down on his knees and header it across the line to his mate. But it's frustrating. It is frustrating, and I felt that if we'd have scored that early on, it'd have been
we'd have killed them, mate. We'd have killed them.
Because they wouldn't have had time to install those tactics. They wouldn't have had that period where they were just literally clattering us, and every challenge was. I mean, there was a lot of cards in that game today, but there arguably should have been a lot more from my perspective. I don't think the ref was that bad. I think the linesman missed a lot, to be fair. I think the linos should be helping him out at those stages. I thought the ref let it flow, and then he booked the right people. But it's one of them, isn't it? Like, we just got to get over it.
Yeah.
On the Kamara not shooting thing, because I think I've looked back at a replay of it, and I think what he does makes sense. Because you can see Kamara receive the ball and you can see him sort of line up for a shot, and then 2 players go to block it. You've got the player that was between him and the winger that played the passing, I think it might have been Nonto. And then the player that was, in theory, marking Somerville comes across to block as well. So in that situation, Somerville's got a better chance of scoring that goal than Kamara does, because Somerville we know is a great finisher. We don't know that about Kamara, and Kamara's got 2 players blocking the shot. Somerville gets a nicer connection on that. That's all good. I can see the argument for he should have just hit it, because in that situation 90% of us do.
Oh, I would have.
But I think through it. but I think he's looking sort of probabilities and going, he's got a better chance than I do it, and passed it on. But some people losing their head over Farker. Only today has it become impossible for us to not break the record for points in the Championship.
Oh, has it? Is it
3/4 of the way through, and now we only just can't break the record. It's not a bad season, is it?
No, it's not.
I think, sorry, just to
go on.
butt in completely. Joe B, you've just kind of completely diffused my kind of like passionate rant that I was about to go on by pure logic and stuff.
Sorry.
Damn you. But it infuriates me. If you're willing to go in the box, you have to be willing to shoot. Otherwise, stay out the box. Yeah. Don't go in the box, because when a ball comes to somebody in the middle of the box, their expectation or fans' expectations is you've got to be willing to take that shot, because somebody fouls or blocks Somerville off, and you're the last person who can take that shot, and that you then lose or get dispossessed. Just take the damn shot. Don't go in the box. If you're not willing to take it, You can't walk the ball into the net, which is what we've had for years. Well, like under Jesse Marsh, and then we have had it at points this season where we just try and walk it in. Just take the damn shot. Like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be, a goal is a goal. It doesn't matter, whether it, is kind of wafted in, gently and with finesse, or whether it's just comes off the end of your toes, kind of, it counts the same. So if you're in the box, you have to be willing to take the shot on, otherwise bugger off out the box.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he should have rifled it, but I also get Joe's point as well. Because, to be honest, until I seen the replay, I actually thought he had it, and it had deflected into Somerville's path. It wasn't until later on I realised he'd actually moved it on, which on another day you're thinking, what a little pass, Somerville's found the net, and Somerville should do better for sure. But I am a little bit concerned about Somerville as well, because we're that reliant on him, and he's been that good this season, but it's clear he's not training to best abilities because he's carrying a knock and he's having to play through games. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about him. I hope he gets better soon. Barney, this is where I'll say it's a massive overreaction, because you've said basically bringing Cooper and I assume Connor Roberts, and put Ampadu back in midfield, right? Prior to today, we'd won 9 on the spin, right? We've dropped points, and then it's like, right, now we need to put Ampadu back in midfield. I get what you're saying, and he is very progressive, and of course we have Gray, and there's an argument for it, and I think based on Roberts' performance off the bench again today, I think you might see it. I genuinely think you might see Roberts at right back. It's the first time really he's subbed Gray. First time really he's done that, so in a long time anyway. So you might see Gray going to midfield, because I don't think Gruyev or Kamara did well. So you might see that at home. But I just think to then say, oh, well, my only gripe is after we've dropped 2 points out of 30, I think it'd be wild for us to have expected him to change it. Like, ask yourself the question for those that are losing their heads. On the 1st of January, bearing in mind we'd only recently lost to West Brom and Preston, if I'd have said to you, or anyone would have said to you, you'll get to the 2nd of March, so 2 months worth of football, and you'll have had 28 points out of 30, you'd have snapped their hands off. So I think it's wild to lose your heads over this. And I'm not saying you are. I just think also as well, there's an element of like, why are we going to all demand now all of a sudden after dropping points, which was it was their cup final. They kicked the shit out of us. There's loads of different factors that we just go, okay, look, dust ourselves down, we move on. If it happens again at Stoke, then we can talk about it and say, right, now there's a rot setting in. You could argue that's happening at Leicester. You could argue that was happening at Saints, and they've come through a result today of Saints. So, we just have to do the same. I don't want to like sit here for ages, and because there's not really much we can talk about. But are we confident, folks, that we do get back on it against Stoke at home, and and get back to winning ways?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime we've dropped points this season, we've come back the next match and looked sparkling. I think we'll be completely
apart
fine.
From Preston on Boxing Day, we lost.
Apart from that one, yeah. But that's West Brom. That's a bit different. They're monsters in like the scary way, not the good way.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I mentioned it earlier that the only blip, I'll use the word blip, but I know somebody cried about it in the comments, but the only blip we have had this season was that. And then we've almost had another mini blip now with losing. I mean, we expected probably to lose to Chelsea realistically, and then dropped a couple of points today. So I completely expect a reaction. And we don't have to travel. We're back. We're around Yorkshire. Our next away fixture's Yorkshire. It's Tuesday night under lights. Absolutely expect it. I expect them to be have a rocky up their arse, in honesty.
Same. Evie, any final thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we'll come back, because I'm just looking. Obviously, the next 3 games are all bottom kind of 6 teams. Millwall have had back-to-back wins. You kind of hope that maybe with them having the wins, they kind of think, we're what?
We can breathe a little bit.
Just the momentum's going well. So maybe they might attempt to play football, which would be quite refreshing after today. But obviously Stoke are in and around there, and they've won today. It's not going to be easy, but I think if we can somehow just get our heads down, obviously the 2 of the next 3 are at home and the other ones, at Chef Wednesday. If we can just get our heads down and survive the next 3 games, after that, I feel really confident because we play better against better teams. Watford are hit and miss. We battered them 3-0 and they've, been poor recently, but they're still good enough to give us a game. So I don't kind of fear them. Hull are again a bit hit and miss, but, still very, very good. But Coventry are having a bit of a wobble. Sunderland are unpredictable. We've got some. I actually think the on paper tougher games will be our easier games in reality. Just like today should have been an easy game, and it was, obviously more difficult. So I just think we have to just buckle down for the next 2 weeks, and we'll be okay. Get those 3 games done, and we'll be fine. But it is going to be hard. It's going to be a tense couple of weeks, but we just can't let today get under our skin.
100%. And, like we've said, we've dropped 2 points out of 30. That's the biggest thing to take. And we're actually closer to Leicester now. So roll on Tuesday and hopefully beat Stoke, and then we'll have a tough game on Friday night. So, yeah.
Leicester, imagine Leicester bottle it and it's us and Ipswich go up. That'd be absolutely amazing.
It would be amazing, It would be amazing.
I
would gift Ipswich the league now if we could guarantee going up in second. Over
absolutely.
I swear to God. I'd say take it. Go. You can have it.
Celebrate. Go and have it, yeah.
Be class. Anyway, listen, folks, that's it for me. I've been sat in here since 11:30, man. Wild day. Locked in and loaded. I'm going to go fucking eat some food and walk the dogs now. Make sure you check out Luke at Ought to Know Better, Joe Blackburn and Evie channel coming soon. There'll be a final word tomorrow night as well with some more familiar faces. Thanks as always for tuning in. Enjoy your evening and just relax, people. It's all going to be all right, right? As Bob Marley would say. And every little thing is going to be all right. Right, we'll leave it there. Bye-bye now.